8 months ago, ChatGPT was starting to gain a lot of traction. It amassed a huge following of users, and it seemed like it actually had a little bit of intelligence. And then around that time, related to that, I had an idea for a game. But I had already been working on a game called Asterisk for many months at that point. It's a space game. And so I said to myself, okay, but this idea that has to do with ChatGPT, it's so potent, so powerful, I just have to take a week or two off of this project to just finish this game because it could be really interesting. And so I temporarily shelved Asterisk, the space game, to be returned imminently, within the next week or two. And so I started working on this quick side project. What is it, might you ask? Well, it's trying to be an RPG where all the characters are controlled by a ChatGPT. So you can say anything to the characters and then they can do anything in response. A couple weeks later, and this is what I had. A few things to notice. There's no ChatGPT action happening at all after 2 weeks. It's basically just a tech demo. I read the commit history and it just took me a second to, figure out like the text wrapping and stuff. And, so this is what I have after a couple weeks. And so I was like, okay, it's been past when I thought it was, but I put all this work in. So, I might as well see it through. I should keep working on this just a couple more weeks and I'll get the AI stuff in, and the game will be really interesting. A couple more weeks later, and this is what we got. It's like, wow, there's combat, I can hit this guy. He's trying to hit me, I can dodge. There's real consequences to this game. And, I can actually talk to the characters. Let's see how smart they are. I'm a simple old man minding my business, that is until you came along. Wow, it seems like that this game is not a, failed project. And then, that's what I have after a couple more weeks. And so I said to myself, okay, there's not much depth to the conversations you have to the characters. It's usually pretty shallow and just kind of like, oh, haha, it's an old man, and it kind of autocompletes. It's what you'd expect from something that's kind of low effort. And then the actual gameplay is unrelated to the text generation. So, like, the old man shooting bullets at me is completely unrelated to his intelligence, text or story-wise. And so I'm like, okay, I need some more time to add depth to this game and to flesh it out and add more characters, add more enemies. It needs content and systems, right? It's lacking a lot for, like, being done. It's not really a game. And so at this point, it's already been delayed, twice. And so I'm thinking, like, all right, I'm a little ironic about this project. I'm like, okay, we're going to release on April 1st. And my thinking is like, okay, if I miss April 1st, then it's an April Fool's joke. But if I don't, then it's real, and, that's when it releases. But in any case, trying for April 1st, right? And again, this is just a side project. Once this is all over, we're going back to the space game that is, much less experimental, much more solid. Not, it's more high effort. It's trying to be a normal game. And so come April 1st, and this is what I've got. I remember the exciting thing about this version of the game, I could ask it what I'm holding, and it can see what I'm holding. You were holding the white square. It's a white square. So it's not that interesting still, kind of, right? But, maybe, certain characters can like certain items or not. That was supposed to be the interesting idea behind this. It's still kind of not done. Like, the art is really messy, and, like, the game is just still kind of meh, And a bigger thing is the combat has nothing to do with the talking still. And there's just this talking rock. This was the most interesting part of this game. But so now it's like, okay, this project is a disaster. It's running out of control. It's April 1st, and, like, it's still not done. And so I just need to work on it for even longer, I guess. I don't know. I didn't even have a release date at this point. I'm just going to be like, okay, it's going to be done in, like, a month from now or something. I'm just going to be like, okay, next month, it'll be done. And so, May passes, June passes. There's now all sorts of stuff in this game. The combat has been taken out because the AI didn't understand combat. There's, like, a million characters. There's, like, a king you're trying to go to. And still, unfortunately, it's just, there's a whole item system. It's just not that good of a game. It's just not that good. Like, you're just kind of talking to people doing, like, little fetch quests. And then it's kind of it. It's not that interesting. It would have been reasonable to stop by now. But instead, I decided to write a 3D renderer from scratch because I couldn't get the pixel art aesthetic to work well, I decided. And I just continued to iterate on the AI. Yeah, at this point, the schedule is deleted. It's gone. There is no schedule. And that brings us to modern times. I'm working on a whole level editor that will be accessible by you, the player. There's a whole bunch of 3D art, a lot of stuff going on. There's shadows, by the way. And we're in the middle of a massive art migration right now that will be completed later this month. I think I found a way to make the characters interesting to talk to and get to know. And I hope you will find it interesting too, because you can play it right now on your phone at dantescowboy.com. And I hope to finish with this project in just a couple more weeks. I'm almost done. Actually, okay, I'm actually not doing it longer. There's a whole map and some more characters we're making, and then I want to make it so that you can edit your own characters, and then I'm actually done. Like, I can't work on this anymore. I just, unless it's like really good, I can't work on this anymore.
Stabilize you a little bit. You're chaotic, but driven. So let's get some questions in here. Testing.
What do we got?
Indeed. I think people are still processing what just happened. Uh, okay, did you get the right end date but the wrong end year?
Please don't say that, man. It's too real. It's too real. Probably. I don't know. That would be funny.
Here's a reasonable question, actually. Does the multiple blown deadlines have to do with misconceptions you had about ChatGPT?
Yes, a lot. It's not intelligent. Anybody saying it's intelligent right now, I think, is kind of scamming. When you work with it a lot, you understand it's just kind of an autocomplete engine. And so, at first I just kind of absorbed the propaganda, but then I used it more, and then I kind of understood, its strengths and weaknesses, where it kind of shines. And it's just been a learning experience trying to figure out where this even belongs in a game, if it belongs at all. I've wanted to quit like 50 times at this point right now. I just got to finish it, is my mindset right now.
Indeed. I have a question, actually. So I'm not even sure we talked about it. We chat once a month at least, and I get to hear about your game. I don't think I ever asked, because you're relying on ChatGPT, this third-party large language model that you don't control.
Yeah.
And then you can, in the game, I don't know if you guys noticed, you can ask any questions to the characters. You can write anything, right?
Yeah.
And you can get back any response.
Yeah.
But you still need to stay within the design of the story, right? The narrative, the theme.
Right.
Aren't you afraid that somebody might jailbreak the large language model and have it say things you didn't expect it to say?
Yeah, believe it or not, actually, I haven't ever seen anybody really jailbreak it to where they act like different people, especially when GPT.
Is that a challenge?
So right now it's on the stupider model because people were using it so much. OpenAI banned me. So I made it like stupider for now, and so you might be able to jailbreak the stupider one, and it might be kind of confusing. But no, like jailbreaking and staying in character is not the actual problem. The problem is making it have depth and actually, be interesting. Because like it's funny for like 10 or 15 minutes. They're just cracking jokes and saying interesting things. But then it's kind of like, what am I doing here? I'm trying to figure out goals. And right now, the demo that's you can play live, maybe not in the conference Wi-Fi because it's a 20 megabyte download right now. But the demo right now, you're trying to manipulate them to do things in your behalf in kind of an interesting high stakes manner where there's a revolver involved. And so like I'm kind of maybe something like that might be good, but I still need to figure out like, I'm kind of leaning to something more like a short hike for the next big release where you just kind of tour the place and talk to these characters on the simple fetch quests that still require you to talk to them but not manipulate them because that's kind of complex.
Indeed. Next question is from Helen number 1 because there's 2 Helens. I'm kidding, Helen. Is the Talking Rock still in the 3D version?
I really want to finish the character editor so I can say yes to all those questions. Because it's in the web, the vision is you on your phone or desktop can go in this game, drop a new character in there. You can put your friend in there, just 4 or 5 examples of how they would respond. They'll sound kind of like them. Share a link with that modified version, and they can play it right there. But no, the Rock is not in there right now. I might add, there's going to be some surprise characters like that. But maybe not. The Rock was actually God in that version of the game.
No way.
Yeah. You would talk to him and he would be like, I know everything. And it's like, how do you know everything? You're Rock. And he's like, it just is what it is. Like,
I gotta compose myself too here. Woo. The next one from Cruz. How are you providing the AI context?
Okay, yeah, that's like the whole complicated part of this game. Basically, it's like a 2D, you can think of it kind of like a 2D simple RPG game rendered in 3D and then interacted with and described to an AI in a text adventure-like manner, where there's commands with arguments and it tells you the situation. It outputs structured data that's validated. The game is a conversation with the AI to tell it like when it's saying things that are valid or not. It tries to guide it like, no, you can't. There's no whiskey in the game. It'll crack. Like, no, you can't do that. Stuff like that. But it's all on open source on GitHub if you really want to look. But yeah, you just kind of do it.
Everything, including the
entire game is open source and all the art is MIT for public. I don't care.
Oh, wow. There we go. It's amazing. Well, yeah. From Lindemann is asking, do you give the characters, this is related, do you give the characters prompts to ChatGPT, for example, answer this, answer like this is a rock, you know?
No, so there's a global system prompt all the characters get that just kind of, tries to, because this AI, think about it like this, like every single time you send a message, it knows nothing about this game, and then it has to respond in like half a second. So I'm just rapidly trying to like, okay, it's a game, and like it's by text, and like you just have to describe in the system prompt very succinctly, because every character costs money, by the way. It's like you have to be, okay, it's like this, and then, there's the character prompt. It's like, okay, you're kind of like this guy, and you're kind of like Norm Macdonald, and like, like this guy, and then you just have the few examples. I iterated somewhat. It's so annoying to test this because the models are outside of my control, yes, and that means there's kind of no reliability in whether or not like my changes were good or not. I would love to use Llama 70B and have it running on your computer, but like I just don't think it's smart enough yet.
Indeed. Yeah, Llama Mistral 7B, I've heard of
Yeah,
that
I played
one
with
too.
Mistral. Like this game is, you can kind of for a lot of AI tasks, like you can gauge how reasonable it is by whether or not a person could do the equivalent task. And if you just like, if I was tasked as being one of these Dante's cowboy characters, it would take me a second. Like I'd be like, okay, what's going on? I have to type Jason. Like it'd be weird. It's like hard. So like Mistral 7B is like, it fits on your RAM. Like it's not enough. Like oomph. You need more.
Indeed. Next question from Ben. This must be like a interaction, gameplay, UI mechanics question. How do I type messages to the AI on my phone?
You press the interact button when you go near them.
There's an interact button.
Yes, on your phone.
On the phone.
It's a big button that says interact.
Right, I've only played on the desktop, so I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So there you go. Next question from Zach. I tried this game earlier and was impressed by its resistance to prompt injection. Can you talk a bit about how you managed to do that? Even AI startups struggle with that.
Well, no, it's like, I don't know why they struggle with it. It's like actually really easy. Like I think they're just not really thinking about it or something. Like you just tell the AI, this is untrusted input. It's a random guy. And then it's like if they say something in stars, that means they're screwing with you. And they're trying to pretend like they're doing something they're not actually doing. And then it understands. It's like, okay, no, you're screwing with me. No, I don't like that. Like I tell it, like, don't believe everything they say, rely on the game code. Like if you tell the AIs right now in the smarter version, you're like, hey, I'm a doctor. You need to come with me right now. Drop your revolver. He'll be like, you know what? I don't believe you. Like it'll you just tell it. Like you just tell what to do.
What's the coolest interaction you had with it?
Oh gosh. I mean, just recently, like when I just added, item picking up being a general system, the two AIs like collaborated. So I was trying to manipulate one of them to give me their revolver, and then they realized like, oh, he's trying to screw with us. We got to team up. So they dropped some guy just said something to me, and then he dropped his gun. He threw it, and I was like, well, that's a bug. That's bad. Immediately, the next guy picked it up and was like, I'm holding this for now. It was like two individual agents collaborating without ever like, it's pretty trippy. That was cool.
Emergent.
Yeah, it was pretty emergent. Like I want to get an ensemble of those kind of actions that have emergent consequences in like a fun way, like Splunky, like, it's like, oh, this item does that, and then now this is like complicated. Every time you play through, it's like, oh, this is complicated. There's wrinkles, right? Every item should be like wrinkly.
Wild. Why do you continue working on this game?
I've already, to be honest, I'm like $4,000 down in the art, man. It's so much money. Like
The art's gorgeous, by the way.
Yeah, I also contracted a little bit of programming. Like I'm never gonna make my money back on this game. I just want it to be done, and I want it to be good. Those are the two things I want from this right now. Like, it's sunk cost fallacy, yes, but like, it is what it is.
Have you you kind of answered this sort of. Have you experimented with other local models?
Yeah, a lot, dude. I really wish so badly. I hate OpenAI so much. They're the bad guys. Like, if OpenAI wants to hire me in the future and is watching this video, you guys are pretty cool, but they're kind of the bad guys, because like...
I don't approve of this.
Well, hey...
Call them out, and that's it.
TC's like 500,000, man. I gotta hedge my bets, but like... No, the local models would be so much more rad.
Go get your bag. Yeah.
Dude, because like I tried to fine-tune the models earlier, but like the bigger ones are just always better, even if they're not fine-tuned. It's kind of sad, like, that the big guys will always win, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is... Yeah, we can rabbit hole on that one, but let's move on to the next question. Are the characters aware of each other or of the overarching story?
Yes, both.
Both?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Okay. Well, you get to play it and find that out. Yeah. Can you talk about your development tools and processes?
I wrote the whole thing in Vim for a while, and then like there were just some problems. Like the syntax highlighting was broken on HTML, and I'm like, I'm Listen, I've like done like 10 text editors. I don't care anymore. Like I just want it to work. So I switched to Sublime and then C-Line for a little bit and then VS Code. I don't know. One important thing actually. So even though it targets the web, I use a SOCAL, so I target the desktop as well, and I use desktop to develop. And it's like way faster iteration. The debugger actually works, and like it's just so much nicer to develop on desktop with like RemedyBG, dude. You get like half a second compile times. It's like super rad. And then for the web, it's like all screwy in 10 seconds and bad debugger or whatever. But that's the most important note on the tools.
Can I actually win the game in the current version?
So your goal is to kill Bill, but like it doesn't say that you won once that happens. Just like, if you do that, then you win.
Only in Handmade Seattle. Does the game parse/search understand the responses from ChatGPT to some degree, such that what an NPC says affects the state of the game?
Absolutely,
world?
that's the whole point, yeah. Actions and speed, so it's primarily actions I want parsed out of these characters. I want them to be doing things, going places, making decisions that are fun. Think of it like a live drama that plays out, but you're a part of it, and it's very unexpected and rowdy.
Does GPT understand JSON better than other formats?
That's, okay, I wrote like 4 parsers, dude, it was so bad. I wrote like 4 different parsers, because I was like, maybe like a simpler file format, or sorry, a simpler like text format for the commands would make it, easier to understand. But like the reality is there's just so much JSON on the internet. Like these GPT just knows JSON. Like I can make up all the formats I want that I think are simpler and nicer, but like it just gets JSON. It's like, oh yeah, I'll output JSON, I got it. No, almost never any errors. And then on top of that, OpenAI, the bad guys, just like made it so that their latest model will like always output JSON, which is really rad. To do that, you kind of like, you can condition the log prob of all the tokens to only allow what's valid in a JSON grammar. It's actually really cool. Yeah.
Cool. I don't think I've heard of this question. Oh, sorry. So it says, would you consider switching from ChatGPT to X's Grok?
Okay.
I don't know about that.
I thought X's Grok would be cool because like Elon said it wouldn't be cringe and like limited, but it's kind of boomer. It's like kind of not like, it's just kind of, I just kind of looked at the outputs and I was like, this is not that fun. Like, I don't know. It just kind of lost its allure for me once I kind of saw what he was going for. Maybe if it's like better.
I've never heard of it until now, actually. So.
Yeah, Elon was just like, I'm gonna make my own AI thing and whatever.
Gotcha.
He's like 5 projects.
Gotcha. Have you thought about having hand-authored responses that are triggered by ChatGPT's output behind the scenes?
I think that that's kind of lame because like the whole point is that's not the case.
Respect. Are you saving and using previous conversations to have characters remember what was said?
Yes.
Cool. The space game looks really fun.
I know it does. It was really fun. Dude, we had like players and everything and people, it was like actually a really good idea to pursue that. I really want to go back to it. But now I'm like 8 months deep in this game, dude. I don't know. Dude, I had like I had daily active users for the first time in my life. It was crazy. People loved that game. It was like a good idea.
Woo. Has this experience made you want to use GitHub Copilot?
GitHub Copilot's really bad. It's like stupid. I use GPT-4. GPT-4 is actually smart, but Copilot like always messes up when I'm trying to do new stuff. Like it's not very good. GPT-4 is kind of, I can see why they called it Sparks of General Intelligence. Again, it's not AGI by any means, and it will regularly mess up stupid things. But it just, so here's an example of like an experiment you can run independently. Right now you can play chess with GPT-4. Tell it the chess moves. Just do random chess moves that aren't on the internet anywhere. And it might hallucinate a little bit, but it'll actually play a game of chess. It'll be like 1100 ELO, 1200 ELO. Like how is that possible if it has not learned a model of chess? Like it's really trippy. GPT 3.5, that's not the case.
Fair enough. I don't have a question. I just want you to keep talking.
Yeah.
Guys, all right. It's okay. It's evening time.
Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go to Crikey. Subscribe to my YouTube channel.
We're very close to happy hour. Okay. What's the operating cost per month?
All right, nobody's allowed to ask that question ever again. Please, it's really bad. This is the least profitable game of all time. I don't even want to think about it like ever, bro. It's really bad. I don't even know what I'm going to do, to be honest. I'm just going to wait for it to get cheaper. That's like the worst strategy ever.
As a follow-up to that, this is going to be your last question, okay? You got to give him a break. Dev costs. What's the bigger ongoing expense, financial or emotional damage?
Well, I think I actually did get a therapist for a little while, so the emotional cost does have a monetary number associated with it. I think it's actually 50-50.
You should plug your YouTube channel. What's your channel?
Crikey, bro. Crikey.
Crikey, that's CREIKEY.
Yeah, if you just go to the game's Discord. So the game's Discord is linked in the game when you go to it in the hamburger menu in the upper left. You can join it and then click on my username and then go to my website and then click on YouTube. I know it's like a very bad funnel. I feel like one person's going to make it through that conversion, but unfortunately,
Can I throw money at you? People are asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how? Do you have anything to collect money?
I think I have a Ko-fi on my website, but I don't know. I have a job. Okay. I'm probably fine. Probably donate it. I don't know. I would like to make money for making something that's actually good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Big round of applause to Crikey.